Popular writer and scholar Graham Hancock once said that we're like a species with amnesia, and it's true. The origins of the human race and the universe is supposedly unknown to us. But it's human nature to question things, and as a result, we've developed a few theories that despite being pushed as fact within the mainstream educational realm, they're not scientifically sound in several ways and actually appear to be very weak. The theory of evolution is one great example, and the Big Bang is another. The Big Bang theory suggests that everything in existence results from one event that sparked the creation of physical matter, and that everything in our entire universe, and in existence as we know it, was part of a single, infinitely dense point, also known as the singularity. Scientists estimate that it occurred approximately 13 billions of years ago, which created cosmic inflation milliseconds afterwards. The theory has come under a tremendous amount of scrutiny over the years, almost to the point where it should be deemed false, or at the very least, admit that our universe, other universes and also dimensions, have resulted from something far greater and perhaps more complex than our intelligent explanation. There are numerous examples that span scientific literature for several years. For example, the cover story of the April 2011 edition of Scientific American included the article, "Quantum Gaps in Big Bang Theory: Why Our Best Explanation of How the Universe Evolved Must Be Fixed, or Replaced." As Jim Marrs points out, in his Our Occulted History. In the article, Paul J. Steinhardt, director of Princeton University's Center for Theoretical Science, pointed out that astrophysicists have left a number of problems with the theory unresolved, stating that the case against the Big Bang theory challenges the logical foundations of the theory. Does the theory really work as advertised? Are the predictions made in the early 1980s still the predictions of the inflationary model as we understand it today? There is an argument to be made that the answer to both questions is no. Numerous discoveries have come to light when it comes to examining the nature of our reality, and we now know, through quantum physics, that consciousness has a direct relationship with what we regard as physical material matter. We also have evidence which suggests that consciousness might not be a product of our brain, and can exist without the physical body. On the other hand, we have no evidence that shows consciousness is a direct byproduct of the brain. Research in quantum physics and parapsychology has also seen quantum phenomenon occur at classical physical scales, which is also very interesting. One example in itself would be how consciousness can influence physical material reality, but also real-world, documented examples of people with special abilities who are about to influence matter with their mind. This also brings up huge questions with regards to consciousness. Does it come before matter, or after matter? Is consciousness required for the creation of matter, and, if it is, what does that say about the Big Bang theory? The fact that the origins of our universe might have a non-physical, non-material origin, which is being shown by science, is simply hard for many to accept. I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness. Max Planck, the originator of quantum theory. It's not only the connection between quantum physics and our physical material world, but what we once thought was nothing, is actually something. No point is more central than this, that space is not empty. It is the seat of the most violent physics. John Wheeler. The fact of the matter is, space is not empty, and it's full of energy. What we once thought was nothing, is not, and this is no longer trivial in the world of physics. How much energy? According to Nassim Haramein, there's a lot of it, and we can actually calculate how much energy there is in that space and that reality might actually come out of it. Everything we see is actually emerging from that space. Now we know that there is the possibility that matter is formed from this void, from this empty space. It's one of many examples where ancient knowledge is coming together with modern-day science. We see this with quantum physics, neuroscience, Buddhism and other sects of ancient Eastern philosophy. This is from ancient Vedic scripture, and it means the Akash is not destructible. It is the primordial absolute substratum that creates cosmic matter, and hence it is. The Akash is not destructible. It is the primordial absolute substratum that creates cosmic matter, and hence it is. The Akash is the eternally existent, superfluid reality, for which creation and destruction are inapplicable. This Akash has been written about since the beginning of time, which again, is super interesting given the fact that in this day and age, we can actually detect it. We'll get to that later. Mainstream science and education, or those who create it, continue to hide this from our textbooks. In the same way, they don't teach students about Nikola Tesla. All perceptible matter comes from a primary substance, or tenuity beyond conception, filling all space, the akasha or luminiferous ether, which is acted upon by the life-giving prana or creative force, calling into existence, in never-ending cycles all things and phenomena. Nikola Tesla, man's greatest achievement, 1907. This is one of my favorite examples from antiquity, although there are several, and they allowed Apollonius to ask questions, and he asked them of what they thought the cosmos was composed, but they replied, of elements. Are there then 4? He asked. Not 4, said Larches, but 5. And how can there be a 5th, said Apollonius, alongside of water and air and earth and fire? There is the ether, replied the other, which we must regard as the stuff of which gods are made, for just as all mortal creatures inhale the wire, so do immortal and divine natures inhale the ether. Am I, said Apollonius, to regard the universe as a living creature? Yes, said the other. The life of Apollonius of Tyana, Philostratus, 220 AD. The most recent discovery in this field comes from the late Paramhamsa Tiwari, the former project director of the Atomic Power Project, and retired executive nuclear director, Nuclear Power Corporation, in the Department of Atomic Energy in India. He recently published a paper in Physics Essays titled Structural Relation Between the Vacuum Space and the Electron. The study discusses how this non-material superfluid, also discussed by the ancients, is the makeup of space, also known as the vacuum. It's incompressible, non-material, massless and not perceivable to the human senses, and it can pose a steady flow varying from 0 to light velocity. This paper presents a formulation of absolute principles for vacuum space that enable revealing the process of creation of a stable electron and its known properties of mass and charge. Fundamental questions on the electron's charge and mass are derived from first principles from the vacuum vortex of the electron's structure. Also, generation of electrostatic, electromagnetic, and gravitational fields are shown to arise from the vacuum vortex structure of the electron. The electron and positron have been pinpointed to be the fundamental particles of matter. So basically, the matter is created within these pockets of empty space which exists from space. What's even more shocking is that Tiwari has developed an electrical generator that proves the theory, and it's over unity, free energy. A prototype of the machine was built and tested by Kirloskar Electric, a manufacturer of electrical generators in India. There, it exhibited 165% efficiency, over unity. Huge implications. Ether has got to be, once again, established, then there will be the meaningful understanding of physics, meaningful understanding of metaphysics, and meaningful understanding of spiritual processes. Tiwari. Just like anything else, this information has indeed been suppressed, in various forms, but it's slowly creeping into the mainstream, and the acknowledgement of these machines, and this science in general, which goes way beyond just energy-generating devices. As you can see above, science is now confirming the spiritual realms. According to Sir James Jeans, the stream of knowledge is heading towards a non-mechanical reality. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than like a great machine. Mind no longer appears to be an accidental intruder into the realm of matter. We ought rather hail it as the creator and governor of the realm of matter. The universe is immaterial, mental and spiritual. Richard Connecticut Henry, professor in Department of Physics and Astronomy, the Johns Hopkins University. Once the world accepts this, and if it does, it means a complete paradigm shift with regards to the perception of reality. This has happened multiple times. Our laws of science were made to be broken. Einstein's paper on special relativity is one example. The Earth not being flat anymore is another. Non-material science, in general, has huge implications. We are at the beginning of the next scientific revolution. Today, this work is breaking long-held science beliefs that have now turned into dogma, but what we think we know is always changing. Take Lord Kelvin, for example, who stated in 1900 that there is nothing new to be discovered in physics and that all which remains is more and more precise measurement. This assertion was shattered only 5 years later when Einstein published his paper on special relativity.